Well, of course, there is lots to look forward to in 2016 as Showtime Championship Boxing celebrates 30 years of great fights, and we've got a great fight straight ahead. In the main event, Peter Quillin, he's been fighting and surviving since he was a boy. You know, the challenges of his early years forged him into the man and fighter that he is today. Daniel Jacobs, well, he found boxing, thrived in the ring. His outstanding amateur pedigree put him on the track to a promising pro career, but fate dealt him a setback. His life was in jeopardy, and his character was tested.
WBA middleweight champion and a 4-year cancer survivor. Let's give it up, folks.
In 2011, Daniel Jacobs was diagnosed with bone cancer. A mass in his back had paralyzed him. After surgery, treatment, and rehabilitation, Daniel recovered.
As I got wiser, I realized that this was the biggest blessing that I can possibly have. I'm a father to a 6-year-old beautiful boy.
You sound like Daddy.
And I vowed that I would give him my all and everything that I've always wanted from my father.
Daddy? Yes, sir. Why do you make that noise like, Yeah. Yes.
Why I make that noise?
Yes.
Sexy.
You're funny.
I know my parents didn't have it all to give to me. And now I'm fighting, literally fighting, to give him everything I never had. So it's like, to know that he understands that and he gets it and he appreciates his father and all my, you know, all that I went through. It's just, man, it's just heartwarming, you know? I couldn't ask for anything better.
Beat that chocolate out of Quillin?
Show me how to do it. Yes. Yes. This is a life-defining, career-defining win for me. And if I can get it, my whole everything will change.
We've flown in secretly. Everything was booked behind his back.
This means a lot. I don't get a lot of surprises like this. I choose Florida to train in because they got nice weather. I'm at the point in my life where I can do what I want. You know what I mean? Nobody paid for my camp.
For the fighter with humble beginnings, that wasn't always the case.
Growing up in Grand Rapids is very, very, very tough, you know, struggling and fighting on the street.
I met Peter 7th grade. Actually, the first time I ever met him, he just knocked somebody out. I was like, I don't know if I want to go to this school if they're gonna be doing this every day.
I told myself, like, if I had the opportunity to get out of Michigan, I would.
Quillin moved to New York City, completely broke.
When you're worrying about your next meal, it was hard to really focus about being in the gym. The waiter at IHOP, he got me a position there. That I had some money coming in. This little pile of boxers all started during that time, and you know, he's still competing and everything.
Amazing guy, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. From there, I just started to set goals for myself.
Against all odds, Quillin changed his life.
What about the snake?
Forming a family and winning a world title, making him a sought-after opponent.
I want to fight Peter Quillin in Brooklyn, New York, here at the Barclays Center.
You've been calling me out for a long time.
There is a lot at stake here in the belt and also Brooklyn bragging rights.
You know how I fight for the people in Brooklyn, right?
He can't go completely Brooklyn because he wasn't born in Brooklyn.
Daddy Jacobs is from Brownsville, Brooklyn. The saying is, never ran, never will.
I want to thank Grand Rapids, Michigan for making me a fighter and New York City making me a man.
I can't afford to lose this fight. My dreams of being a superstar will all be over.
There's a look at the champion, Daniel Jacobs. He was frank and honest with us in our fighter meeting. He said, I need a win tonight to become a star in the middleweight division. Jacobs has heard people say Quillin's the bigger puncher, the better fighter, but he told us his style is perfectly suited to stopping Quillin. Kid Chocolate, he told us Daniel Jacobs is a good fighter, but he's a gifted fighter and will show Jacobs that he can not only box, but will hurt him in this fight. Quillin said there's a reason Jacobs, the title holder, is calling him out because in his word, quote, I have what he really wants, credibility, end quote. We are just minutes away from the WBA Middleweight Championship. Daniel Jacobs against Peter Quillin. Social media has just been going crazy leading up to this fight. Our hashtag battle ramping up with fan interest. Take a look at the totals as we approach the main event. Pick 'em fight, but 55% of you say Kid Chocolate will walk out of the Barclays Center with Brooklyn bragging rights and the title. Still time, though, for you to make your pick. We'll share the final predictions just prior to the bell for round one. Folks, it is time for the main event. Let's go ringside. Here's Mo, Al, and Paulie.
Thank you very much, Brian. October of 2012, both Daniel Jacobs and Peter Quillin competed on the first event here at Barclays Center. Jacobs, in his first fight since overcoming a rare form of bone cancer, recorded a first-round knockout. Quillin won his middleweight title over Hassan Endam. Tonight, they meet in a pivotal middleweight matchup billed as the Battle for Brooklyn. Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Barclays Center in Brooklyn, the time has come for the featured bout of the evening, the Battle for Brooklyn for the Middleweight Championship of the World. It's time for Jacobs versus Quillin.
This is business. We can't be friendly.
Danny Jacobs has the belt, and he's still calling me out.
I don't want to shake your hand. I'm going to punch you in your face. I won't lay down. I won't. He's gonna have to kill me and then win.
Ah, man, I gotta beat him up.
We're gonna kick some ass.
I'm actually gonna fight Danny like I'm trying to hurt him.
Huge round for Peter Quillin here.
Good body shot by Jacobs.
Oh, down again! And that hurt him.
I'm fighting for my legacy.
Ready, baby? Let's go to work. So Brooklyn is in effect tonight.
And now, please welcome to the ring the former middleweight champion of the world from Brooklyn, Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin.
Here comes 32-year-old Peter Kid Chocolate Quillin. He's lived in Brooklyn since the age of 18. It's been well documented, the road that he has taken to get to this point in his career, and yet here in the Battle for Brooklyn, he went to Miami and trained at the world-famous 5th Street Gym, where, of course, the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, used to train. And the gym's motto, Al, train like the GOAT. You do not have to be a fighter in the ring of boxing, only in the ring of life. He and his opponent tonight have both proven to be successful fighters in life. One of his first jobs when he came to New York was, well, killing 500 chickens a day at 5:30 in the morning in Chinatown. I don't know if, like Rocky Balboa, he chased chickens in preparation for this fight.
Well, he gained inspiration from being in that gym in Miami, and even though he's been called a little bit of a carpetbagger, and we heard that from Daniel Jacobs for not being born here, no question he feels comfortable in this ring and comfortable in this environment in Brooklyn.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the defending WBA middleweight champion of the world from Brooklyn, the Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs.
You hear the sounds of the band approaching Storm. Kids at the Brownsville Rec Center, where as a youth, Daniel Jacobs used to spend many days, the first cancer survivor to win a championship, and one of 17 Brooklyn-born champions, just like yourself, Paulie Malignaggi. What is it about the makeup of a Brooklyn fighter?
Well, it's that old school Brooklyn mentality. You know, a lot of in the old days, when you're from Brooklyn, you have to overcome a lot of adversity just to make it as a successful adult, and a lot of pitfalls can get in your way. So knowing you overcome those things on your way to adulthood, it builds that character. It leaves you with a sense of pride. And obviously, fighting on your turf, you're defending that turf. It's a turf war, and you want to defend your turf. And for Brooklyn fighters, that's a lot of pride.
Nice reception from the crowd here at Barclays Center. Becoming a boxing hotbed, and they very well might have split emotions tonight again. Daniel Jacobs from Brownsville. Peter Quillin grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Now just a 10-minute walk away from this venue. Let's go to the tail of the tape, Al.
Probably the most salient number here is going to be the weight of Peter Quillin, because remember, in his other title match against Andy Lee, he came in overweight, but he was right on the number, just in fact a pound below at 159. And remember, Quillin tends to really blow up after he weighs in, so he may be physically the bigger man in that ring.
And when it comes to the hashtag battle, just like everyone else, very much a pick'em fight with Quillin winning via 55%. We're about to find out who will emerge as the winner in the battle for Brooklyn. And one more time, let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Barclays Center here in Brooklyn, New York for the much anticipated featured bout of the evening, brought to you by DeBella Entertainment and Showtime, sponsored by Corona, La Cerveza Más Fina. This bout is sanctioned by the WBA, the President Gilberto Mendoza, Supervisor Gilberto Mendoza Jr., along with the New York State Athletic Commission, the Chairman Tom Hoover, Executive Director David Berlin. Introducing our three judges, scoring from ringside. From Newark, New Jersey, Larry Hazard Jr. From Albany, New York, Tom Schreck. And from Groton, Connecticut, Don Trella. Introducing our third man to the ring, he'll be giving instructions after the introductions, Harvey Duck. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Middleweight Championship of the World. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Barclays Center in Brooklyn, it's showtime! Introducing to you first, the challenger on my left, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white and black snow leopard pattern trunks, fighting out of and proudly representing Brooklyn, New York. He weighed in at a ready 159 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 32 wins, no losses, one draw with 23 wins coming by way of knockout. He is currently ranked the WBA number 5 world contender. Here is the former WBO middleweight champion of the world, introducing the undefeated Kid Chocolate, Peter Quillin. And his opponent across the ring is the defending world champion, fighting out of the blue corner to my right, wearing green trunks with camouflage trim, representing Brooklyn, New York. His weight, 159 and 1/2 pounds. His record, 30 wins, 1 loss, 27 big wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making the third defense of his title. Here is the defending and reigning WBA middleweight champion of the world, introducing the Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs. And once again, our referee in charge, now to give instructions, Harvey Duck.
Okay, guys, your trunks are good. We went over the instructions earlier. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Good luck to you. Come out at the bell.
Well, the holiday season is upon us, and these two middleweights agree that it is better to give than to receive. They promise to give each other the beating of a lifetime. The winner's future promises to be brighter than Times Square. Daniel Jacobs the middleweight champion, Peter Kid Chocolate Quillin, wants to be middleweight champion again. Referee Harvey Dock calls for the bell. We are underway. Jacobs in the green and camouflage, Quillin in the white and black snow leopard.
You know, the thing wafting over this fight is wondering whether Daniel Jacobs, who was ahead when he fought Dmitry Pirog in 2010, and the cards got knocked out, hurt by Truex, in one fight, knocked down by Mora in this last fight. The question is, how will he hold up against Quillin's power?
Jacobs was ahead against Pirog?
Yes, he was.
He was a 3-1 favorite in that fight before getting knocked out, the lone loss on his resume, and in that fight against the light-hitting Mora, did raise some concerns after getting knocked down in that opening round. He, of course, repaid the favor in what was a wild round of the year. Mora fracturing his ankle as Quillin got his knees buckled with that right hand, and Daniel Jacobs all over Kid Chocolate. He has to be careful not to punch himself out in the opening minute of the opening round.
But Quillin didn't hold until a lot of shots got through, and Quillin's got to hold, otherwise Harvey Dock's going to step in even if Quillin's not hurt.
Unbelievable start to this fight.
You got to smother this. Quillin. Jacobs doing a great job.
Vicious right hand. Quillin on inline skates. And the referee has already stopped the fight.
Wow.
Mamma mia.
I would say it's an unsure stoppage, but Peter's not complaining himself, so I can't quite say that.
Quillin's family in shock. Jacobs' family jubilant. He didn't go down, Al Bernstein.
You know, I asked the right question at the beginning, but about the wrong guy, didn't I? Daniel Jacobs is the one most people were concerned about being able to take the first big shot as his son.
Yeah, the birthday boy celebrated his birthday earlier this week and said, Dad, I don't want to celebrate until you bring back the title.
And he's gonna. We thought Daniel Jacobs was one in danger of early stoppage. No, it was Peter Quillin. And Daniel Jacobs made a statement with that.
And Jacobs lit up Quillin like the proverbial Christmas tree. His son, sharp-dressed little man, ecstatic. He said that he wanted his dad to beat the chocolate out of Quillin, Paulie.
You know what? I guess he did, but you know, great start to the fight by Jacobs, and a great way to finish. Credit to Jacobs for knowing and understanding how to finish the fight. But Quillin, on the other hand, could have used some better survival tactics, right, Al?
Yeah, absolutely. You hit it right on the head, Paulie. At some point, he needed to try and hold. Not easy to do. What a disappointing, Daniel Jacobs showing the elation, but for Peter Quillin, what a disappointing moment to lose in this first round.
Because you don't know if he gets through that, how the fight shapes up. You know, sometimes you get robbed of a very good fight. Very sharp shot that hurt Quillin first. I think we're going to see it now.
Yeah, we'll get to discuss it as we take a look back. Yeah, as we take a look back from the overhead. This is after he had been in trouble.
Yeah, he's already.
And he was blasting away with Quillin on the ropes. And Peter Quillin does hold there, but not able to do it as effectively, and Harvey Dock separates them. And then during this barrage is when you would hope Quillin would try and find a way, couldn't quite do it, and then gets blasted with a bunch of huge right hands.
But you know what it is, too? Quillin, by the time he decided to hold, was already a little bit late. Yeah. You know, he already taken more shots. Danny Jacobs is doing what us Brooklyn fighters, a lot of us Brooklyn fighters who trained together in the past and whatnot, we call that a rumble. Danny Jacobs is just throwing and throwing and throwing. We do rumble drills. And basically, he rumble drilled Peter Quillin. He just kept throwing and throwing and throwing.
You agree with the stoppage then, gentlemen?
You can make maybe someone can make a case that they should have given him a little bit more, but the referee, Harvey Dock, looked into his eyes. And
needless to say, social media thinks it was a brutal stoppage, but let's go.
Let's take a look first.
Here's the initial shot. Perfectly set up left hand, hook right hand.
And that was the right hand that started all the problems for Peter Quillin. Then here's the end of the fight, and we can talk a little bit more about the stoppage. This is where he had already been in major trouble, and Paulie's point is well taken. Jacobs was picking his spots very effectively. And here's where that little stutter hop comes. And the question is, Harvey Dock has all the time in the world here. The question you have to ask yourself, is he going to utilize that time? That's a fighter who at this juncture, according to Harvey Dock, shouldn't continue. But you wonder, should he have let it?
I have.
That's Quillin's wife, Allison.
What a gut-wrenching moment for her.
Looking
and
at
the
Quillin's
entire
eyes.
family.
Looking at Quillin's eyes.
Wow, conversely, man, a great night for Daniel Jacobs' son. Wow. Picture says 1,000 words.
Looking at Quillin's eyes, I think he was more hurt than we thought. Harvey Doc turns around and sees that in front of him. Quillin's eyes wide open, and he's not quite cognizant. In the moment, I thought it was quick stoppage because I thought Doc thought that Quillin was down when he wasn't. Then when he turned around and realized he wasn't down, he just stopped it. But looking at Quillin's eyes, Al,
it's kind of hard
if you turn around and see those eyes, he's kind of way out of it. And I didn't complain about the stoppage either.
No, I agree. It's pretty hard to criticize.
I want to get back to the hook right hand that started all of it. The hook right hand is a decoy combination. Basically, the hook in the combination is a decoy, and it made Quillin flinch with his hands and open up the straight right hand.
Let's go to Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 1 minute 25 seconds in round number 1. Our referee in charge stops the contest. He is the winner by way of technical knockout and still the WBA middleweight champion of the world, the Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs.
You see it. You see it. You see it.
And ladies and gentlemen, Brooklyn's World Championship belt to Daniel Jacobs is Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams and Barclays Center CEO Brett Yormark.
Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, Mo, thank you very much. I just spoke to the referee, Harvey Doc, and he said in his estimation, Peter Quillin was not able to comprehend where he was, and he felt that the fight should not go on any further. I asked him if Quillin had gone down and taken a knee, would he have given him the count or would he have stopped the fight? He said he would have evaluated after he got up at 7-8 or whenever he decided to get up, but it was his judgment he could not continue with that. Daniel, congratulations to you. I'm sure this isn't what you were expecting, so what caught him that put you in this position to put Quillin away so soon?
Well, first of all, I'd like to give the glory to the man above. I want to say thank you to Peter Quillin for giving me the opportunity to bless this ring with him. He's a fine gentleman. I respect him to the utmost. I hope he's okay. And all we can do is pray for him for the future. But back to your question, I told you, speed kills, talent, and skill. I was patient. I knew he was going to come in with bombs, and I was able to slip some of his punches. And when I came with an upper shot, I realized I hurt him, and that's when I went for the kill.
Daniel, you spoke to him extensively. First of all, what did you say? Because it was quite lengthy.
I told him I love him. He's a brother of mine. He's fighting for the same reasons I'm fighting for. We and Peter Quillin go back since the Golden Glove days. I have nothing but the utmost respect for him and his family. I love him to death. But I knew that this night would be my night.
Do you feel this was domination, or did you just catch him unexpectedly?
I don't think in boxing there isn't anything unexpected. Everything is intentional. There's no lucky shots. It's just setting up shots. And obviously I caught him with a shot, maybe on the temple. I don't know what shot I caught him with, but I knew once I had him hurt, I wanted to go out there and corral him and hopefully let the referee stop the fight.
Daniel, let's take a look at this monitor right here. This is where you first got Peter Quillin into trouble. As we take a look at it, tell us what you were seeing and what happened.
Well, as you can see me pull the jab, I was throwing my left hand and I pulled his hands down when I was able to catch him with the right hand. I seen his eyes and looked like his equilibrium was off. So, like I said before, I was corralling him and throwing big shots. One of my favorite shots.
This is the end of the fight right here.
Yeah. I mean, obviously he was hurt, but like I said, this is one of those sports where anything can happen. I know he prepared 100%, and so did I. And all I can do is just pray for him for the future. But the best man won today, in my opinion.
Did you feel he was out on his feet right there? If you'd have hit him again, it could have done some significant damage.
I'm not a referee, but if I was, I probably would have still gave him an opportunity. Peter Quillin's a gentleman. I have the utmost respect for him.
And will you give him another opportunity based on the shortness of this fight? Would you fight him again?
I'll definitely give him an opportunity. He gave me the opportunity after me calling him out for so long. I would definitely give him a rematch.
Would you do that next, or would you try and move on and fight the winner of Saunders and Lee, or perhaps Golovkin at some point?
It's up to my management. Obviously, I want to be able to fight the best out there, but I'm willing to fight them next if that's what they want.
All right. Congratulations, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Peter, first things first, are you okay?
Yeah, of course I'm okay. Thank you. I love you. Yeah, so sorry, man. Yeah, I feel good. You know, this is what happened in the game of boxing. You go up in there with the ability, you go up in there with all the strength, you go up in there that thinking things are going to happen for you, but it sometimes come out short like that.
If you can recall the moment, do you know where you were when the referee stopped the fight, or did he do the right thing?
Of course I was. You know, I seen earlier I was connected with jabs she was throwing. We was kind of tentative. We wasn't engaging, and when we did engage, it was very explosive.
All right, as we take a look at the end of the fight, Peter, tell us if you can assess just exactly what was happening with you, and were you just trying to survive this onslaught?
That's right on the temple. You know, in a moment, you really never know what it's like until you get to see it in the replay, but it was a good shot.
And Harvey Dock probably was doing his best at that moment to protect you. Since this was such a short fight, and Danny Jacobs said he would give you an opportunity to fight again, is that what you would like immediately?
I think all around this is a time where you go sit with your family and think about what you're going to do, you know. I think I got a lot of options. Maybe a rematch is an option, but, you know, it's all about what the people want to see.
And your first defeat, it's never an easy time, but how do you think you'll be able to handle that?
I think when you're humble, you'll be able to accept anything with an open heart. You know, Danny's fighting with a great story. He's a cancer survivor. You know, he's got a good story. He's inspiring a lot of people. Who better can you lose to than a person that's fighting for a different, bigger reason than I could ever imagine.
Peter, we appreciate your time. You're very gracious and courteous. A lot of people admire you for your story and what you've accomplished, and I'm sure we'll see you soon.
Well, I want to just thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate it. We fall short just to come back with a major comeback. I'm thankful for all the people that come here to support me for all the great reasons. It's a blessing to be here, and I'm thankful. Thank you.
We're glad you're all right. All right, Mauro, back to you.
Well, not surprising that Peter Kid Chocolate Quillin is gracious as he absorbs the first defeat of his career. Meanwhile, Daniel Jacobs records his 14th first-round knockout. He opened the Barclays Center in October 2012 with a first-round knockout, and here at Barclays in the biggest fight of his career, he scores another first-round KO. Back to you, BC.
All right, Mo, and I think a lot of people are saying, wow. As Daniel Jacobs said, what a career and life-defining win for him. For Daniel Jacobs, I know Gennady Golovkin is generally thought of the tip-top of this division, but if you're Daniel Jacobs, you can now say and have a legitimate beef and say, I've now beaten and stopped a better fighter than you have beaten when you look at your entire resume. It's a big win here for Daniel Jacobs. We'll have more from Brooklyn in a moment, but right now, here's what's ahead from Showtime.
I have to figure out what happened to Quinn. He just disappeared.
We give the UN Security Council 24 hours.
Once I overheard about an attack in Berlin.
What sort of attack?
I can help stop this thing. She's lying.
Is she?
You got something to tell me, cousin?
I have some questions.
Fire away.
Who is this group? Do we know?
On the next Showtime Comedy Club, Jermaine Fowler gets personal.
I was like 16. I have a computer, so I had to watch porn at the library. I was in the library so much, my parents thought I was smart. The most annoying thing you can ask a twin, is it true that twins feel each other's pain? It's not true. Jerome and I were twins, but we were complete opposite. For example, Jerome liked going to jail. I was like, my butt started hurting, like, ooh, Jerome's in trouble. Jerome's in trouble. Oh.
Jermaine Fowler, Give 'em Hell, Kid. Premieres Friday, only on Showtime.
All right, let's recap our night of boxing here from the Barclays Center. We start off with a WBA featherweight title. Jesus Cuellar putting his title on the line against Jonathan Oquendo. Wasn't a very pretty fight, but Cuellar did what he had to do, and in the end, he got himself the unanimous decision and retains his WBA featherweight title. And in the main event, Daniel Jacobs put his WBA middleweight title on the line against Kid Chocolate and hurt him with this right hand here in the first round. and then he just jumped right on Kid Chocolate and gets a very surprising stoppage here in the first round. Daniel Jacobs walks away with a stoppage, retains his WBA middleweight title. Well, tonight's Showtime Championship Boxing will have several re-airings, so in case you missed any part of tonight's action or just want to watch the fights again, you can check out our replays on Showtime and Show Extreme. All right, guys, rejoining me, the guys who called all the action here, Paulie, Al, Morrow. Wow. I mean, listen, we thought it was going to be exciting. I didn't know if it was going to be first round exciting. And I go back to what we talked about at the top here. We said, a number of people said, well, if it's going to go short in a knockout, it's going to be Peter Quillin. You said, not so fast, folks. And we said, hey, Jacobs is the one who has the higher knockout percentage.
Yeah, you know, I still am surprised at the quickness of the ending. I would have never thought this fight would have ended in the first round for either guy. When it started pretty much the way I assumed it would, with Quillin coming forward and Jacobs kind of backing up, using the ring and just surveying the land. But then he found this spot and he pounced quick, and that, like he said, speed kills. He picked this spot, he threw that left hook right hand. If you watch the left hook when he throws it, Quillin makes this motion with his hand. He flinches on the hook. And basically, it's flinching, and it opens up a straight right hand coming from the other side. That hook right hand is a trap combination. The hook means nothing, and it worked to a T, and from there he followed it up.
Yeah. Now, you know, Al, listen, I understand when you talk about Harvey Doc. Listen, you looked at Quillin's eyes, you saw the dance that he did. I understand. I just think, considering he was a former champion, don't you think you just give him the opportunity?
That is very much a judgment call, and I know there will be a lot of debate on this. I'm sure there will, and we can take a look at it to give ourselves a reminder now of how it went. We'll look first where he got into trouble, and Paulie described this sequence with the gloves, perfectly done by Paulie. You're a good fighter and a good analyst, and the right hand lands and hurts him. Now, we will look at the stoppage as it continues, and what happened here was there was a right hand and then a stutter step. And here, Brian, is what you alluded to, where Harvey Doc is not looking at Quillin right there. He's getting in. Now, he thinks, as Paulie pointed out, maybe that he went down. Now, he did touch the rope, and it could have been thought of as a knockdown. But as Harvey Doc comes in to get a hold of Peter Quillin and taking a look at him, he actually has the posture that he knows it was not a knockdown. That's a very key point as we look at it again. He knew it wasn't a knockdown because he didn't look like there should be a standing 8 count of any kind. So in reality, that was Harvey Doc making, I think, a judgment call right on the spot.
His posture, he wasn't about to stop it, and then he decided to stop it when he saw his eyes. Good call out.
Absolutely.
So what does this mean now, Mo, when you talk about this middleweight division? Hey, Daniel Jacobs, huge win for him. You beat a top 5 guy here, former champion. What does this do to the middleweight division?
Well, for Daniel Jacobs, it validates his position as a top 10 middleweight, and an argument can be made that with a victory over a former champion in Peter Quillin, that maybe he has a better resume now than the boogeyman in the division, Gennady Golovkin, who has 21 consecutive knockouts but hasn't faced anybody like a Peter Quillin in his credentials. I think this is going to open up plenty of opportunities for Daniel Jacobs moving ahead in a division that has a lot of curiosity now.
You know, because I know, Al, when I made that statement, people are going to be like, what the heck is this guy talking about? But when you look at Golovkin's resume, hey, look, now Daniel Jacobs say, look, I stopped Peter Quillin.
Well, I would argue that Martin Murray is on the par of Peter Quillin. But nonetheless, you're not far off with that. Here's the point I want to make here. You know, Daniel Jacobs was one punch away from moving. You know, when he lost to Pirog, he had been a great amateur. He was rolling along. People thought this is the American middleweight of the future. He had not only that sidetrack plus cancer, but now it's not ridiculous to think of Daniel Jacobs as the second best middleweight in the world, maybe, because he has performed so well.
I just wanted to give social media a little more fodder by bringing that up there, Al.
Listen, there were a number of people who said he was a great amateur. We want to see that in the pros. They saw that tonight. All right, so what are we looking forward to? It's been a great year here on Showtime Championship Boxing. let's look forward here to 2016. Let's start in the welterweight. You fight in the welterweight division. One thing I'm looking forward to is you bringing back that European title, okay, when you go fighting in Britain there next week. What are you looking forward to in the welterweight division?
Well, you know, with the possible retirement of Floyd Mayweather, I think it opens up a lot of possibilities for a new king at that weight. There's a lot of great fighters at welterweight. For the most part, the welterweight division is usually the best in boxing or among the best in boxing, and this generation is no different. So I look forward to some top matchups and really trying to find who the man is at welterweight, because right now there's a lot of top guys, but there's a lot of princes, but there's no kings.
And speaking of Showtime, hey, Showtime Sean Porter was here, and how about Sean Porter, Keith Thurman? That's something that these guys are looking to get it on in February. Keep locked here to Showtime Championship Boxing. You can see that right here in February.
We should also mention about the card that Paulie's on next week. According to the WBA, the winner of this fight tonight, which is Daniel Jacobs, is supposed to face the winner of Chris Eubank Jr. and Gary O'Sullivan as the mandatory. That goes down on that same bill in London next Saturday.
Very key point. You know, you've always talked to how you've fallen in love all of a sudden with this super middleweight division. What are you looking forward to in the new year?
Well, this division, and we know it here on Showtime where we had the great Super 6 tournament, was a division that produced great fights and great champions. It had a little lull period, and now this year we had a big changing of the guard. We saw last week a great fight between Lucien Boutte and James DeGale, and DeGale kept his title, and now as we head into the coming year, we're looking at names like Badou Jack and James DeGale and others in that division to give us a lot of excitement. I think 168-pounders next year are going to take a big spotlight.
Well, you know, we had Deontay Wilder up here. I talked with him a little bit, and he's talking about he's foaming at the mouth to finally unify those titles, bring it back here to America. Talk to me about this heavyweight division. It's gotten very interesting now.
Well, thanks to Tyson Fury rocking the boat and knocking off Vladimir Klitschko last weekend. We have, or 2 weeks ago now, I guess, we have Deontay Wilder facing an opponent to be determined. He was supposed to maybe face Vyacheslav Glasgow. He's gone another direction. It'll be interesting to see who he faces, because let's face it, after beating Berman Stavern and showing everyone that, yeah, he can box as well as knock people out, hasn't faced the best of competition. The heavyweight division still very thin. And I think it's going to be up to Deontay Wilder and his people to get that mandatory out of the way with Alexander Povetkin, who lost to Vladimir Klitschko. And then let's see. I would love to see Fury versus Wilder. I think just the gift of the trash talking ought to be epic for that one. And it could be a big fight both here stateside or across the pond.
Well, you know, we saw here tonight, Paulie, Jesus Cuellar, and you saw him get the win. Hey, that 126-pound division could be really exciting in the coming year. Gary Russell Jr., Abner Morris, Leo Santa Cruz.
Yeah, there's a lot of good names at featherweight, a lot of talent there. And, you know, you can mix and match some good fights, because not only are they good fighters, but a lot of them have some pretty exciting styles. Like we talked about tonight with Al about how Jesus Cuellar is a volume puncher, but he's also a big puncher. Well, Santa Cruz is also a volume guy, and it was a good body puncher. You know, you match those guys together, they won't need a ring. They'll just need a phone booth, you know? And then you have other good fighters, you know, Gary Russell, who can be a slick boxer. Maybe that's not always too exciting, but you know what? The way he won the world title, he showed us he can be exciting. He can punch when he needs to. So, you know, there's a lot of names in there. You can mix and match and some possible good matchups.
You know, I tell you what, it's been an exciting night, guys. Thank you very much. And it's been a terrific year here on Showtime Championship Boxing. Hey, good luck. Come back with strapped, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Best of luck to you. All right, coming up next, folks, it is an encore episode of Homeland, starring Claire Danes and Mandy Patinkin. And looking ahead to 2016, Saturday, January 16th, undefeated heavyweight world champion Deontay Wilder makes his New York City debut. Now for Al Bernstein, Mauro Ranallo, Paulie Malignaggi, Steve Farhood, Jim Gray, and our entire Showtime Sports crew, I'm Brian Custer. Good night from New York City.